Picture this. It's late at night. You're lying in bed, eyes wide open, replaying the day's failures, betrayals, and disappointments on a never-ending loop. You reach for your phone to escape, but the scrolling only makes you feel more empty. Maybe you've even wondered, why does it seem like life is just one obstacle after another? Is true peace even possible for someone like me? Now, pause. Ask yourself honestly, how often do you feel trapped by suffering you can't control? Do you ever wish there was a way to step outside the cycle, even for a moment, and breathe? What if I told you there is a way, a series of escape routes, hidden in plain sight, crafted by one of the most radical and brutally honest philosophers who ever lived? Arthur Schopenhauer. You may have heard his name whispered in the shadows of existential despair, but what most people miss is this. Schopenhauer didn't just dwell on suffering, he mapped the paths out of it. Today, we're not here for abstract theory. We're going to dig into the practical tools for self-transformation. Schopenhauer left behind tools you can use, starting now, to find moments of real peace, even in a world that seems built on disappointment. In this video, you will discover why Schopenhauer believed suffering is inevitable and how art, compassion, and letting go of the will can become your secret weapons for inner freedom. You'll walk away with new perspectives, relatable stories, and practical prompts to help you reclaim your life from the jaws of anxiety, frustration, and restlessness. Are you ready to step into the storm, not to escape reality, but to finally understand how to find calm within it? Let's begin. Let's start with a question most self-help gurus run away from. What if suffering isn't just a problem to be solved, but a fundamental part of being alive? For Schopenhauer, this isn't a pessimistic quirk, it's the starting point for all wisdom. He writes, "All life is suffering." But what does that really mean? Let's break it down. Imagine you wake up tomorrow with everything you thought you wanted. The perfect job, a loving partner, financial security. How long before you start craving something new? How long before a single rude comment, an unmet expectation, or a random accident shakes your fragile happiness? Schopenhauer saw this as the endless cycle of human desire, a restless, hungry force he called the will. The will, for him, isn't just wanting things, it's the blind urge inside every living being to strive, compete, and chase satisfaction that always slips away. It's that itch in your mind, the anxiety in your chest, the constant feeling that something's missing. Have you ever felt that no matter what you achieve, peace always seems just out of reach? Schopenhauer's brilliance is that he doesn't sugarcoat this struggle. Instead, he invites us to see it clearly, without denial. When you realize that suffering isn't a personal failure, but a shared human condition, something shifts. The shame starts to fade. The self-blame loses its grip. So what does this mean for you? It means that feeling restless, unsatisfied, or even miserable at times doesn't make you broken. It means you're human. In fact, seeing suffering as universal can become the first step toward real freedom. Right now, reflect. Where in your life have you been fighting against pain as if it's a personal defect? What would change if you saw suffering as an inevitable part of existence, one you can learn to navigate, not simply erase? But if suffering is the default, does that mean you're doomed to despair? Is life just a cruel joke? Schopenhauer says no. In fact, he offers not one, but 3 escape routes. Let's unlock the first. Have you ever been so absorbed by a piece of music, a painting, or even a sunset that for a moment you forgot yourself? The weight of your problems vanished. Time stood still. All that existed was beauty, pure and simple. Schopenhauer called this aesthetic contemplation. For him, art is not just decoration or entertainment. It's a portal, a way to step outside the endless cycle of wanting and worrying, if only for a moment. Why? Because when you're fully engaged with art, you're not chasing or resisting anything. You're not thinking, what's in it for me, or what do I need to fix? You're simply present, absorbed in something beyond your personal story. Let's make this real. Imagine you exhausted after a long, stressful day. You put on headphones and lose yourself in music that feels as if it understands you better than any words. Or maybe you stand in front of a painting that draws you in so completely that the outside world disappears. For those minutes, you are free. You have escaped not by running away, but by rising above. Why does this matter to your life right now? Because it means you don't have to solve suffering to find relief. You can access moments of peace, tiny vacations from the will through art, nature, or any experience that absorbs your full attention. It's not about forgetting your problems forever, but about giving your mind and spirit a break from the constant grind. Next time you feel overwhelmed, don't just distract yourself. Seek out an experience of pure beauty, a song, a poem, a scene in nature, and let yourself be fully present. Notice how, even briefly, the grip of your worries loosens. Aesthetic contemplation isn't an escape in the negative sense. It's a reminder that you are more than your anxieties and cravings. But what happens when you return to ordinary life? Suffering still waits. Is there a deeper root? Let's turn the spotlight from art to something even more radical: compassion. Schopenhauer uses the German word Mitleid, which literally means suffering with. It's not just feeling sorry for others. It's the act of recognizing, at the core, that everyone you meet is also wrestling with their own desires, frustrations, and pains just like you. Think about the last time you felt truly seen or comforted by someone else, not because they fixed your problems, but because they simply shared in your experience. That moment of connection didn't erase your suffering, but it made it lighter, didn't it? Schopenhauer believed that compassion is the only true moral foundation. Why? Because when you genuinely empathize with others, you break down the illusion of separateness. You start to see that the struggle isn't me versus them, it's all of us, together, navigating the chaos of existence. So, what does this mean for you? It means that every act of compassion, no matter how small, transforms suffering. When you show kindness, even to someone who annoys you, you step outside the prison of self-absorption. You realize that your pain isn't unique or isolated. It's part of the human story. Who in your life needs compassion right now? Maybe it's a friend going through a tough time, or a stranger you usually ignore. Maybe it's even yourself. For one day, deliberately look for opportunities to ease someone else's suffering, even in small ways. Notice how it shifts your mood, your perspective, and maybe even your sense of meaning. Compassion isn't just a virtue. It's an escape route, a way to step outside your own pain by caring for others. But Schopenhauer's most surprising proposal is yet to come. Now, let's tackle Schopenhauer's most misunderstood and perhaps most liberating idea: denial of the will. At first, this sounds harsh. What does it mean to deny the will? Should you give up on all your dreams, desires, and passions? Not exactly. Here's the heart of it. Most suffering comes not from pain itself, but from our constant, restless grasping, our refusal to accept what is. Schopenhauer suggests that when you learn to let go of the frantic need to control, possess, or constantly fix life, you discover a deeper kind of peace. Think of it like this. You're caught in a current, fighting desperately against the flow, exhausting yourself. What if, instead, you could let go float, even for a moment, and realize that peace doesn't always come from winning, but from surrendering the struggle? This isn't passive resignation. It's an active, conscious practice of loosening your attachment to outcomes, of not letting every unmet desire define your happiness. How could you use this insight in your own journey? Whenever you find yourself obsessing over what you can't change, a missed opportunity, a relationship that ended, a future you can't control, say, what if I stopped resisting? What if I allowed myself to rest, just for a moment, in what is, rather than what should be? Today, pick one thing that's been causing you stress, something you can't control. Practice letting go, even if just mentally. Notice how your body and mind react. Does the anxiety lessen, even slightly? What would it be like to practice this kind of will denial more often? Letting go doesn't mean giving up on life. It means refusing to be enslaved by endless wanting. In Schopenhauer's vision, the greatest freedom comes not from getting everything you want, but from needing less to be at peace. Let's bring these concepts together with a story, a kind of parable you might recognize in your own life. Imagine you, burnt out from work, relationships, and constant striving. One evening, in a moment of rare honesty, you walk into a quiet art gallery, alone. At first, your mind races with to-do lists and regrets. But then, a painting catches your eye, a landscape so tranquil, so indifferent to your worries, that you stand frozen. As you gaze, something inside you softens. The urge to fix everything fades. You become aware not just of your own pain, but of the silent struggles of everyone who has stood in this very spot, seeking solace. For a moment, you feel a surge of compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. And in that space, you realize peace isn't something you chase. It's something you discover when you stop running. So, what's the lesson for you? All three escape routes, art, compassion, letting go, are not distant ideals. They are invitations available in the everyday moments when you dare to stop, breathe, and connect. This week, create your own escape ritual. Pick one day to intentionally engage with art, practice compassion, and consciously let go of a single worry. Journal your experience. What changed? What surprised you? What felt possible that didn't before? Step back for a moment. Why does all of this matter, especially now, in a world spinning with chaos, distraction, and ever-increasing demands? Because Schopenhauer's escape routes aren't about running away from life. They're about learning to stand at the center of your own experience, fully awake to both suffering and beauty. Ask yourself, how would your life change if you stopped seeing pain as the enemy and started using it as a doorway to deeper awareness? How much energy could you reclaim if you practiced small moments of aesthetic contemplation, acts of compassion, or the gentle art of letting go? In a culture obsessed with endless achievement, Schopenhauer's message is radical. The path to peace isn't about getting more, but about seeing, connecting, and releasing. To quote Schopenhauer himself, "It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else." Notice he doesn't say happiness comes from denying reality, but from understanding it so deeply that you can finally live freely without illusion. Tonight, as you reflect on your day, notice the moments when you resisted pain, when you showed kindness, and when you let go. What patterns emerge? Where could you invite more beauty, more empathy, or more acceptance into your life tomorrow? Let's gather what we've learned and plant the seeds for real change. First, remember, suffering is universal, but so is the potential for relief. Aesthetic contemplation, you can step outside the cycle of endless craving by immersing yourself in beauty, art, and the present moment. Compassion by connecting with the pain of others. You transform isolation into meaning and create space for healing. Denial of the will, letting go of constant striving, isn't defeat. It's a courageous path to genuine peace. Seek out moments of beauty and let yourself fully experience them. Practice simple acts of compassion toward others and yourself, especially when it feels hardest. Challenge the belief that you must control everything. Practice releasing your grip, even if only in small ways. You are not alone in your suffering, and you are not powerless. The same tools Schopenhauer discovered centuries ago are alive in your hands, your eyes, your heart. Every time you pause to notice beauty, reach out in compassion, or let go of a burden you can't control, you are walking one of the philosopher's escape routes. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect mood. Start now, however you can. Transform suffering not by erasing it, but by learning to walk through it with courage, clarity, and kindness. If this message has resonated with you, if you've felt a shift, even a small one, share your experience in the comments below. How will you put these ideas into practice? What escape routes have you found in your own life? Remember to subscribe to Mind Mirror for more guides on navigating life's deepest questions with wisdom, empathy, and creativity. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out our next video, where we explore how Sartre's radical freedom can help you reclaim authorship over your story. Until next time, keep searching, keep questioning, and above all, keep caring for yourself and for others. Your journey to peace starts here, and it starts with you. The ideas explored in this video are for philosophical and psychological exploration and are not intended as professional advice. Viewers are encouraged to engage in their own critical thinking and further research, and to consult with qualified professionals for personal concerns.